Welcome to the Event Engine Podcast. This is your host, Lee, and on today's show, yet again, live and in person this time, we have the one and only Kjer. How are you, sir?
Amazing. Thank you. And nice to see you.
Yes.
In real time. You're not a robot.
I can touch you. This is incredible. Yeah. Oh, yep, you're real. That's fantastic.
I think you're not a robot.
No, I'm not a robot, despite the fact that we do offer AI.
Yeah, okay.
I was joking to somebody that I was actually the prototype AI bot that we'd created and made to look lifelike. And you know what? Nobody laughed. It's just a classic dad joke, I'm afraid. So
love it.
So, folks, if you're not aware of who Mass is, he is the co-founder, I think, of Mass. No, your name is Kjer. He's the co-founder of Ticketbutler. And he was on the show just a few weeks ago. We had a fantastic time, and it was all online. This time, we get to have a conversation all about Ticketbutler and how you got started, essentially bootstrapping an event tech business. So, before we jump into that, could you just give people a very quick 30-second bio of Mass, and then we will jump into your journey.
Sure thing. My name is Mass. I'm from Denmark, Copenhagen. I live in Copenhagen from Aarhus, the Jutland side of Denmark. As you said, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ticketbutler. I founded 6 years ago. I'm a former gymnast, and if you've listened to the previous podcast, you figured that out. I can jump on my butt. And I can still do some tricks, but you can't see that today in this episode, unfortunately.
Because I think you said you had stiff legs anyway.
I do from trainings yesterday, yeah.
Exactly. And you can also Google, and you'll be able to find the Denmark's Got Talent as to what we're talking about.
You said it.
I did indeed. And it's also in the previous episode, so we're all good. So, Mass, today we want to look really at bootstrapping an event tech company, and that's something that you guys have done. So could we jump in the imaginary time machine back kind of 6-7 years ago, and could you share your initial journey into building Ticketbutler?
Yeah, it started with me working for a company in Denmark doing gymnastic shows. Yeah. So I was sitting there selling tickets, do the marketing and everything, and sitting with ticketing systems. Mm-hmm. And my brother lived in Australia. He was the lead developer for a ticketing system in Australia. Yeah. Went out for a beer. I met him I visited him in Australia. Went out for a beer, and we just sit there complaining about ticketing systems and how they did things, and how I was complaining about how I was doing things in my work. And we got drunk, and then at some point we was like, whatever, we do it ourselves. Yeah. Let's build a company. Come on, bro, let's build a company.
Yep.
And the day after hangover, we were like, oh well, let's do it.
Yeah.
And back then he was living in Australia, I was in Denmark, so it took some time before we really begun building it. Mm-hmm. But that was really how it started, over beer.
So you complained about an experience you were having in the real world, and you were like, we can solve this problem. So how did you go about starting to solve the problem? I guess what's the problem in a sentence that you decided you wanted to solve, and then how did you start going about solving it?
Yeah, so we saw the ticketing systems back then being super advanced and super expensive. And actually what we wanted to build was a free ticketing system for everybody, funded by ads.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah sounds good.
Yeah.
But you need like a shitload of volume to actually earn money on ads, like a lot of tickets. So long story short, we changed that price model and resulted in doing the same price model as almost everybody else. But that was the learnings, and back then we were just naive. I didn't have any entrepreneurial experience or anything back then. My brother had a bit, but that was just for fun, so we needed to learn every step of the way by just doing things. And that's also part of the bootstrap journey. It's like we didn't have the experience with like finding funding and everything. Not saying that's the reason why we did bootstrap, but we just need time for learning.
Yeah.
But that was actually before 6 years ago.
Okay. So, I mean, how did you start to develop the product and I guess invest in it? Did you work a job on the side for a while, or how did you kind of...
So in the beginning we were moonshining. Do you know that?
I've heard of moonlighting.
Moonshining.
What's moonshining then?
Moonshining is when you work on it at the shine of the moon. So you work on your business in the night.
Oh, right. Yep. Okay.
So I was studying at engineering at DTU in Denmark, Denmark's technical university.
Yeah.
My brother was working at a corporate, and we were working on it at the night. So that's moonshining.
Okay.
That's a part of being bootstrapped. Like, you don't have money to pay yourself. So we were actually moonshining until I could pay a salary to myself.
Yep.
And at that point, my two co-founders founded a IT consultancy.
Yep.
Which goes very well in hand with having a tech company as well. So that's been a part of the journey, is having this IT consultancy, funding some of the salaries, but having that capacity together with a tech company goes very well hand in hand in terms of resources, that you can take resources from the IT consultancy into the tech when it's needed, but you also can have a few customers on the side working on IT consultancy. So we were very much more flexible in terms of IT resources, which is really, really expensive when you're building a tech product.
Absolutely.
So that's part of how we were bootstrapped. That's the first biggest thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is being bootstrapped. It forces you to deliver really, really well, and it forces you to make your customers not to make your customers come back, but to make them like coming back.
Yeah. Because
you can't churn customers. If you keep churning customers, just like a big black hole you put money and resources into. So the way, like, we've always been super duper focused on giving an awesome experience from our customers. Yeah. Because that's what we're growing from. We don't grow from investors. We grow from our own customers. By giving them an exceptional experience, both with support and product and everything, we make sure they come back. Yeah. And from that profit, we make sure we can help other organizers. And that's how the snowball has been rolling. As well as the customers have been recommended other customers. So it's just this positive effect. But being bootstrapped, you're really forced to think about those effects. Yeah. Because you can't just pull out money of the window. No, you can't mess it up, etc. You want them to have a good impression. You want them to spread, like you said, spread the news far and wide to all of their associates, and you can grow through that. How did you, as a bootstrap company, you've been moonshining. Yes, you've got the IT consultancy on the side to help bring in some cash flow, etc. But how did you go about finding those first few customers? Because there is the credibility element, isn't there? You're a young, small, bootstrapped company. You don't have a big head office and a big flashy website. How do you get a company to say, all right, I'll take a punt on you? Yeah, that's a good question. And in the beginning, there's much, I won't say hustle, but it's. I think we've expanded our features and product portfolio slowly. So in the beginning, we weren't taking on tasks that we couldn't deliver on. So if you have a bunch of money and you could just deliver or develop whatever you need, we couldn't do that. So we were very precise on only taking in customers and tasks that we knew we could deliver on. Again, coming back to the customers coming back to us again. Yeah. But it was difficult. It was hard. Yeah. It's been hard work, man. It's really hard work, and especially in the beginning and also starting a ticketing business. Like, there's so many ticketing customers, like ticketing providers doing such a good job. Yeah. It's really, really good ticketing providers out there. But back then we had no experience. We were just naive, just doing it. Well, I mean, I think there's something, though, admirable about saying, you know what, we can see what other people are doing. There are some frustrations that we would like to solve with that, and then stepping into an already crowded market and going for it. That's very admirable and brave. Some might say stupid, but hey, 6 years later, you're still going. So that's a great thing. True. But also, you guys have done something very different, I think, as well. Maybe born out of you being bootstrapped, but I believe you guys have differentiated yourself significantly through through branding. You've got a great brand, but also through the products that you're delivering, especially with that niche into sustainability. Was that purposeful? I'm a product engineer, and a part of my education is like, go ask questions and stay quiet. Ask about the frustrations, the pains, and everything. And after the customer number, like 20, 30 said like, Mads, help us with printing name badges. We hate it. for small events. This is not like the thousands of people events, just the smaller events.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself. Let's build that printer.
Yeah.
We've never done hardware before. Let's build that printer. But that's come back to like help the customers, help them solve some pains, and especially that name badge printer. Like we had the experience and we've hit a niche market with the name badge printer that helped us growing. Like 1.5 years ago, we printed our first name badge outside of Denmark.
Wow.
Today we've been in 29 countries with the name badge printer, 5 upcoming in 5 different continents. Amazing. In 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So we've also seen, but it's the same methods we've been using like since the beginning, is like listening to what are the pains and just delivering that awesome experience for the customers and the organizers, because that's what helps us grow. And especially now with the name badge printer, where we have like an even better product market fit. We have a better niche that we see not others are doing. So there's a lot of good on-site name badge printer providers out there, but we're just doing it differently in a way I don't see anybody doing it. And
for listeners, could you describe what you're doing as well for folks who aren't aware of what Ticketbutler does?
Yeah, so we both do the ticketing part of things, and we aiming of doing things simple. So we can do advanced conference stuff like that in the ticketing, but we are focusing on having like a more intuitive UI, like an intuitive interface, meaning whenever we have a new feature, we don't put it in a dashboard. Because otherwise you couldn't find a button because of all the buttons. That's for the ticketing side of things, doing it simple, integrating on homepage, your branding, your data and everything. But talking about this niche with the name badge printing, we've built this small portable printer where it's a label printer, but it's extended with a computer where we've built in software and hardware, making it seriously plug and play.
And it also looks really cute as well.
Sorry?
It looks cute as well. It's a nice design.
And you can like it's you can bring it on a plane. Like it's super portable. Yeah. And the plug and play thing is like you turn it on, 2 buttons. You scan a QR code on the back. That's the setup. It literally takes 1 minute to set up. So we've made this technology that's normally need a technician into something everybody can use. Meaning it can be used for events with like 50 attendees. So we have had customers having 30 events over 4 months all around Europe with different operations team each time. Managing that without us handling everything. Like we had one point of contact, and that point of contact just handled everything else, but the contact wasn't physical in place because it's so easy to operate this printer. Seriously, turn it on, scan a QR code, begin printing. So you scan the QR codes when the attendees arrives, and then it just prints the name badge.
And with the bootstrapping methodology,
how
did you also as in on this, how did you actually build the hardware? Because that sounds like a lot of research and development, and I'm assuming, as you've bootstrapped and slowly grown, it's you've not got thousands of pounds to throw at this. So how did you get from kind of a low budget development of this product?
Good question. We are using some modern technologies, for example 3D printing. So we got 3D printers in the office printing the casing, which makes the production super agile. In the casing we have different devices, and so we can adapt the casing depending on the devices we use. We can swap out devices, everything. So 3D printing is one thing, but also these agile development methods, not investing in these molds in China, and you need to build like 1,000 devices before it makes sense economically, financially. So we're just using these modern ways to develop things, as well as we do have a lot of experience with the software, and we hired people for the hardware as well, the product development, as well with my experience within product engineering. All that combined made us move super fast, super efficiently, having time to market really, really short. Because we had some good agile techniques internally, as well with this 3D printing technology.
And did you use, so it sounds like you've used 3D printing to get rid of that whole case production saga, but also you've used kind of reusable off-the-shelf parts that you've put together, plus your own software and some hardware, all melded into one product. You did that on purpose. Was that just to get an MPV out there? MPV? MVP. I'm saying the wrong way. Was that to get an MVP out there as quickly as you can to test the market, or did you? Has the product changed much since then?
Yes and no. So the cute little design hasn't changed. Actually, the parts inside has changed a lot.
Yeah.
The first MVP was, of course, different from the one we have now on the inside.
Yeah.
But the outside has been the same because we actually pretty much nailed the design from the first version.
Yeah.
Not the MVP.
Yeah.
The MVP had a cardboard box.
Amazing.
Next to it with some things in it, and yeah.
Well, like the Apple One. Yeah.
So I'll say the MSP.
Okay.
The minimum sellable product.
Oh, okay.
Not viable product, sellable product. Yeah. So we did it to time to market, but we still do it today because it's just works. Looks good. It's flexible. We can produce printers like from day to day almost. And part of the story is also like we have one model where you can rent it for one event, and you can also scale it up so you can have like 15 printers for one event if you have like 8,000 attendees, or you can just have one if you have an event with 50 attendees, and you can also have them in-house. So you as a company, if you run a lot of events over the year, you can just have them in-house and just pull them down the shelf and use it for that event with like 30 attendees, and then use it next week again.
Yeah.
But back to the production is like we do have these very, very short production cycles, so we can deliver very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Because everything is in-house and we don't need to like ship things around in China, and sustainability-wise as well.
Yeah.
Also a thing. We don't produce anything that's not needed.
Yeah. And you build the cases on site at the office. Well, in theory, you could send the files to someone else as well, couldn't you, for them to put something together, or the instructions or whatever, in another country as well, based on what you've done. That's phenomenal, because you've not got too much in there that's absolutely custom to you. That you know, like Apple has to get its own chips made and set, and then placed on boards, etc. That's a fascinating journey. And I think I'm hearing here as well that in order to bootstrap tech innovations, be agile, build the MVP first, obviously, but also the minimum sellable product, i.e. solve the problem and no more, and put it out to market. Don't get too many people involved in it. Don't drag the development out for months and months, which we've done as a software company. We've sometimes taken 2 years to develop a product, which if you add up all of the salaries and the time invested, it's an awful lot of money, when really we could have kind of shipped something a lot sooner. We've learned a lot nowadays. We don't do that, but originally our very first product took us 2 years to develop, and that cost an awful lot of money. So we were certainly not bootstrapping. But I think that's some big lessons I can learn here. Is there a point as you've grown that bootstrapping, or the philosophy of bootstrapping, kind of no longer is needed because there is now good cash flow, or is it a philosophy that you want to continue to adopt as you grow?
So we don't like. We might find funding at some point when it makes sense for us.
Sure.
We still feel affected by being bootstrapped. Like, I'm sure everything have been running even faster if we had funding.
Yeah.
But right now we've just built such a great culture, and we should build like. We've been taking it in our pace until now. We've been very controllable. We've especially during the COVID.
Oh yeah.
Like, having investors in that time have been like a shit show. Sorry, my French, but
it's very good French.
We can.
It's actually merde in French.
But we could have been taking decisions down the road that has helped us, but it's also been dragged a bit out the time of development and the amount of customers we have had and stuff like that. But at some point we might find investors, but that will be for growing even faster.
But I think not just investors, because as you've grown anyway, naturally your income is naturally increasing and your profitability going up as well. So what I mean is, when you look at the bank balance, you're thinking, oh, this is looking a lot healthier than when we first started. We feel psychologically a bit richer as a business. Perhaps we can make decisions that we never used to make, like let's just invest in XYZ because it's going to look good or look better, etc. So I guess I'm saying, does the bootstrapping mentality eventually start to leave you, or is it something you think is going to be around for a long time because it keeps you so agile?
Good question. It doesn't. It certainly doesn't feel as limiting anymore, because of course we have a higher revenue and we've got like a lot of employees and everything. It gives more freedom to test new things, to invest in new marketing, sales channels, product things. But the things I'm most proud of lately is like we have enough resources now to invest in sustainable solutions. Yeah. Which hopefully can get a return down the road. But I've chosen to invest in some sustainable solutions and development now because it's dear to my heart. Yes. For example, we've been offsetting our own carbon footprint with 105%. We've been developing a feature in the ticketing system where the ticket buyer can offset their footprint at the event as an opt-in. Yeah. We don't earn anything on it. We do it because we want to help the climate. Yeah. We've been building how we transport the name badges. We've developed a foam box for the rental printers that can be sent back and forth with a low carbon footprint. We've done like a bunch of different things, which is way more sustainable. Yeah. Because we have some more money to be, so we're able to actually do it. We have freedom to do stuff like that now. Yeah. Which I wanted to do like 2-3 years ago, but I didn't feel we had the resources. Yeah. But we do have that now.
Now, you mentioned earlier the C word, COVID, which brings back many bad memories, I think, for many people. How did that affect you guys? Because you're a bootstrap company with a brand new product that you're bringing to market, i.e. the Ticketbutler, the software, etc., the ticketing side. You're also looking at creating this ticketing machine. How did COVID affect all of that? Because the events industry practically switched off overnight.
We launched the name badge, like we sent the first invoice for the name badge printer in December 19. The day before COVID, like the first rules of distancing and everything, like closing events down in Denmark, the day before those got enforced in Denmark, we launched the plantable name badge, referring to our earlier podcast about like sustainable name badges, and we have this name badge you can plant. We launched that the day before the rules got enforced in Denmark. And I was like, bye-bye. But we chose to say we know physical events will come back. Some said like the event industry will never be the same again.
Well, here we are, thankfully. Yeah.
And I was like, yes, it will. It will be changing a bit, but people will never stop meeting each other. We need to sit in front of each other, giving each other a hug, even though we haven't seen each other before in real life.
Well, now we're BFFs, so
exactly. We knew that, so we didn't begin building any virtual software or anything. We were like, nope, we want to be the experts within the few things we do. Yeah. And then we just began hustling. Yeah. One thing was we had the IT consultancy on the side. Yeah. That helped a lot. And then we just build we build a marketplace for online events, but with a physical aspect of it. So we help organizers execute online events where we help them sending out whatever physical packages for the attendees. So we did like rum tasting, bakery webinar, like bakery courses, all sort of things, whiskey tasting, chocolate tasting with a guy from Costa Rica. Yeah. He was doing the tasting for Danish participants, like all sort of things, just hustling the way out of there. But being bootstrapped, that was difficult. Super difficult.
But does Bootstrap, though, during that time also give you the benefit of being able to do that? Because there are some big companies that would not be able to hustle like that. They wouldn't be able to make any of those decisions because of the managerial hierarchy, etc. Whereas you guys could just all put your heads together and say, right, what are we going to do during this? Let's do this. We've got the skills in-house. Quick. 3 weeks later, you're MVP. Another week later, you're MSP. Now, new phrase I've learned. I'm going to be using MSP all day now, mate.
I'll tell you, not even 3 weeks. Yeah? We were sitting, us 3 partners, at a...
No one likes to show off, mate.
I don't know, like a month in or something like that.
Yeah.
We were sitting, us 3 partners, just like being very stressed out about the situation.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? Do we lay our peel or whatever? We went to an online beer tasting the week before.
Yeah, beer features a lot here. Yeah.
So yeah.
Carry on. Sorry. Mate.
But we went to this online beer tasting, and that was like first of the kind
Yeah.
in COVID, and we were like, that was such an amazing experience. We found a napkin,
Yeah.
wrote down a business model for this platform with like making online events for event organizers. 8 days after we launched.
I'll give you a fist bump for that. It's amazing. Yeah.
And that was just the team getting together. We had the registration platform. We had the network within the organizers. We had the tech experience. We haven't done any logistics before, but you know, we learned that.
You'll work it out.
Nobody knew about it, but we learned very quickly together with our organizers and partners, such stuff like that. But 8 days we launched that product.
Yeah.
And we couldn't have done that if we had the investors. Then we have like board meetings and voting and everything. So we've been very resilient, both about this mindset, like we need to provide values, otherwise we can't earn money and grow, as well as having the IT consultancy has also been giving us some resilience.
I think the IT consultancy as well is good because you guys, you've not got your eggs in the ticketing basket, as it were. You have other sources of revenue that you can lean on during the rougher times. Similar to us back in the day, we had different products or different services that we could offer. I was also an IT specialist, so I was able to offer kind of corporate level IT consultancy to keep my lights on whilst also moonshining, another word I've learned, with the business to try and build it as we were trying to attract clients to our new software, etc. So definitely something that's helpful. And have you continued with the IT agent, kind of IT consultancy on the side as well?
We still have it. It's very, very few customers over there, but they good customers. It's have a few colleagues over there working with these customers. They're happy. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Right now, it's like, why not keep going? Because it's good. It's extra resources. Everybody's happy. It's good for those colleagues working on those projects. It's good. There's some problems and challenges that they wouldn't face otherwise in terms of tech challenges. It's good challenges. So right now, why not?
I guess as well, you've got your own IT consultancy on tap whenever you need. So that sounds phenomenal.
That's it. Yeah.
they can look after you.
Yeah, it started, and that's the case. So it's a recommendation for other bootstrap companies, or just people who want to test out the startup world, or whatever. Like doing some sort of consultancy in the beginning. Yeah, that's good money in the beginning while you're building a product. Building a product is shit money. Now we know that's a French word as well. Shit money in the beginning. Consultancy is good money in the beginning, but at some point it will tip over. Yeah, we tipped over that long ago, but still having that safety net without taking too much focus if you're bootstrapped, that can be a strategy. Yeah, but it totally takes focus in the beginning. It does. You cannot avoid it. And like, if we didn't do the consultancy and had funding instead, I'm sure we'll be way bigger today. Yeah. But for me, it's also about the culture, building a good business, building like a culture where everybody's happy about what they're doing, making sure customers are happy, not just looking at them as numbers, but looking at them as humans and customers, making sure their events are a success. Yep. That's super important for me, having that integrity. Not saying you don't have integrity if you have funding. No, I know. But it's just when we can follow the scaling we've done, but still having those core elements and values in place. Yep. I enjoy that. That's really good. It's also a personal enjoyment. Yeah. But at some point we might get some funding to like grow.
I feel like you may not. I feel like you'll naturally grow. I think you found a vibe and a way of building a business that you clearly enjoy, you clearly thrive off, and you are clearly very versatile as a result. So I'm fairly sure that you may even get to the dotted line and then just not sign. I get the impression that you'll probably. Just as we come into land then, if there's any kind of young event tech startup, they've been moonshining, maybe they have their MSP, that maybe they've managed to attract a few clients, but they just feel overwhelmed at, generally marketing their business and getting their name out there. Would you have any advice for them on how they might be able to reach a wider audience with their product?
Yeah, definitely in networking in the beginning.
Yeah.
And just go out networking. Yeah, how to do that. Find relevant people that can match you up with relevant people. Yeah. Don't just... There's a lot of good startup events out there, but try to go as focused as possible in your own industry.
Yeah.
It's good talking with experienced people from whatever business, but trying to be as focused on your niche as possible. So for example, if you're doing an event tech startup, you should go to Event Tech Live. Here we go.
Yeah.
To get touch with people that can help you finding your next customer.
Yeah.
I will definitely recommend that, because you cannot win with Facebook ads and stuff like that at the beginning without knowing who you're targeting.
Yeah.
So getting the knowledge for knowing who you're targeting to actually get the correct and the right network you need.
Yeah.
Being more clear about what you're looking for. You might not know in the beginning, but that's what you need to explore. But you can explore it through network.
Yeah.
And listening to people who works in the same industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, networking with the correct
advice.
people in the beginning, as niche as possible. I think that will be a good recommendation in the beginning.
No, I totally agree. It's how we've grown, and one of the things that we weren't expecting was actually that developing relationships with other suppliers in the industry has actually been way more effective than trying to find networking groups where our target client is, if that makes sense, because we're now kind of forming partnerships in events such as Event Tech Live, where people know what we do, we know what they do, and as we find new customers, we're essentially able to pass opportunities and leads around, and there's an awful lot of goodwill in this industry, and people are able to pass things on. For example, we don't necessarily do apps. We do web builds, but we don't do apps, and we've just today had a great chat with Canopy next to us who do event apps. So great, we've continued to develop that relationship. We might be able to either partner with them at some point or pass business on, etc. So just a very small example of the sorts of things you can do when you super niche. Mate, this has been a wonderful conversation, really nice to do in person. Before we go, for the folks who didn't get to see the last episode, of which they can watch, could you just show us, for the benefit of the camera in person, because last time there was a bit of recording issues, your tickets with the plantable tickets?
Oh yeah, sure. Like on the camera here?
Yeah, so folks, if you're listening to the podcast, come onto YouTube and you can see these plantable tickets.
So on the front side, for those who can't see it, this is actually my business card today. But it's the same thing that goes for the name badge. On the front here, it's my name, it's my phone number and everything, but that will be the front side of a name badge. This is printed with a label from our mobile small printer that prints the label here. You put it on here. And on the back side, you will see a description and some small icons on how to plant your name badge. So in this name badge, there's chamomile seeds, so you can plant your name badge. So instead of using plastic name badge or whatever, you can give your attendees a memory to bring home. And if you've been on conferences away from your family and stuff like that, it's awesome to go home and plant a chamomile flower or a tomato or whatever and see it grow. So you have fun with it with your family at home. See, here's the one with tomato seeds. That's absolute our bestseller, and I love it. And I'm proud of that product because it's helping event organizers being creative. Yeah. We help them being creative on their behalf, and they get all the shine.
And it's another way for you in a very crowded market to stand out. It's something that not many tickets, I'm not actually aware of any others right now that are doing something like that. So it's great. And I'm totally going to steal a couple if you don't mind.
Go nuts, man.
Take them home for my son and we can plant one. That would be lovely.
I should have brought the floppy disks.
Well, we've got the pictures. I'll make sure we put a picture on now. Picture.
I only got 19,500 left, so you better be fast. No.
Mate, I've got loads of floppy disks at home as well. They're all from my Amiga. I still have an Amiga. But
I don't want to know what's on them.
Well, yeah, lots and lots of games.
Okay, that's all right.
And business software as well. I'm kind of into business software. I'm a big nerd. It's a whole other podcast I want to start all about the business software that people used to use like 20, 30 years ago, and then comparing it to what we do today. So
that would be fun.
I know, it'd be great. I mean, it wouldn't make any money whatsoever, but it would be totally like nerdtastic for me to do. So maybe one day I might have another podcast about that. You never know. Mate, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been so good to do it in person.
Pleasure.
Loved our digital one, but this is 10 times better because I can see you in the flesh. Thank you so much. Give us a fist bump.
Thanks, man.
Nice one. Take care. I'll see you soon.
Cheers.